Welcome, Spiritual Mag. My name's Sam Bell, and I'm gonna open the closet here and bring out more or less a full story. Uh, Usually, I just put down something that focuses on one item. But this item, this event that occurred to me, is connects a few different aspects of who I am and where I am now. So I'm going to take you through the whole thing. Okay. Uh, it's 1996. 1996. And maybe 97. 96, 97. And I'm a speech and language pathologist. Uh, so you can work in all different types of settings. Most individuals in speech end up in the school system somewhere helping children. And then there are others who tend to be working more in acute care settings, feeding tubes and saliva management. And then others are working on oral motor skills, bite, chew, swallow, uh, dementia. You have a lot of people that cannot remember the food is in their mouth. It's quite a serious situation. So I did this stuff 42 years. I have done this stuff 42 years in California, Florida, and New Zealand. So also a little bit here in Peru, some volunteer stuff. So you see everything under the sun. You see everything under the sun. You see people that were, shopping and just bought a dress and were sitting in the back seat of the Suburban and got rear-ended on 101 and now nothing works on their whole body. They're 15. They can't do anything. Highly intelligent. And they're in the hands of caregivers who are minimum wage, unable to function very well. It's just due to the situation, fatigue, etc. Then you'll also see people with magnificent home. You gotta drive up the road to the top of the hill to get the huge estate at the top of the hill. Just got the overlook of the Pacific. And they own a pharmaceutical company in Peru. Correction, a pharmaceutical company in Switzerland. And they no longer can drink their tea because they cough and choke and they're prepared to die to move on. And I do a home call and show them how to drink the tea without choking, and their life changes. And then I have tons and tons and tons of traumatic injury and people under age 21 that are in the category of cerebral palsy. So you can have a leg that doesn't work, or both legs that don't work, or both arms and both legs that don't work, or your mouth doesn't work, or everything doesn't work. And your brains are fine. You're smart as hell. Can you talk? No. Can you bite, chew, swallow? Baby food. If they're positioned and somebody's putting it in there. So anyway, in this process of going through all this stuff, I think most people in the world now have figured out that the pharmaceutical companies don't give a fuck about you, bro. You got bread, they care. You don't have bread, you can go dry up and fucking die. So the people that are finding out about vaccinations today are, quote, the normal ones. They found out that healthcare is something on the other side of a racket. Healthcare is a war zone. Okay? So now these normal people, they can talk. and they could move. Well, I've been working with people that cannot talk and cannot move. And believe me, you would have a very difficult time trapped in the body of a spastic quad in your, you know, typical 99 bed facility with no cover just going to do anything. So you just suffer. So that's been going on for thousands and thousands and thousands of people for, at least as long as, I've been, I started in the early 70s, working with people who are born deaf blind or blind or deaf. So, it's nothing new to the disabled persons that, you're not worth shit. Okay? You're not worth it. You are not worth shit to the pharmaceutical companies, to the hospitals, to the healthcare delivery systems. You are worth fucking nothing unless you get bread. But when your bread stops, goodbye. So you can get where I'm coming from. So back in 96, I'm like, fuck this. I just can't believe it. If I see another person dying and, everything's going backwards and I can't get any help and, nobody's doing anything, it's just escalating, I'm not going to do speech pathology anymore. Okay? I had 3 offices, Santa Monica, Pasadena, and Beverly Hills. I had up to 27 full-time staff, more than 1,100 active patients. But it's weird, if you're smart and somebody's super greedy, they're going to have a nice suit and they're not going to fuck with you. At least you won't understand it or realize it. But if you're greedy and you're dealing with blind people or physically impaired people or people bedbound or people that can't bite, chew, swallow, and they've got full coverage, they're insured, they got all this stuff, but it just gets denied by somebody on the other side of the phone or the computer. Okay? So I'm like, fuck this. I'm not going to do any more speech pathology. I'm just, fuck this. I'm just all pissed off. So, of course, I'm broke. And I'm literally homeless. Broken homeless. It was just a taste of San Francisco. And my very loving cousin, Casey, gave me a place to crash near the beach. And I'm upstairs, get no heat, no water, no toilet. No heat, no water, no toilet, no food. No food. When I get some money, which would be coins, I would get the 2-for-1, a flat of top ramen, and then put the top ramen in the pot and let it sit there for a day, and it just swells up. You get a big pot of noodles, believe it or not, if you do it correctly. And so, of course, I already went to heaven at this point. September 21st, 1990. September 21st, 1994? 94, 95, 94? I got to look it up. But it's the year before this. It's 95. No, it's 94, I think. It was Rosh Hashanah when I went to heaven. So this is all after you go to the other side. You go to the other side, you come back here, it's like, oh my God, these humans are just awful. So I'm not working, and I'm sitting in an attic, and we've got a TV off the street, and with rabbit ears, I've got that, and the TV is old time. It has a clicker, but it's the clicker goes bing. It's no battery. So there's only 3 stations when you do it, because I don't have a cable or anything. So there's just, through the rabbit ears, you get like 3 stations. So I'm sitting up there, and every morning I'd get up, walk 2 blocks. I'm on 48th. I'd walk to the coast, which is 2 blocks, and do a meditation. It's sunrise. Usually get done just before sunrise. And then the same thing at sunset. So I'm just meditating and reading spiritual books. and trying to help people communicate with their guardian angels. So I'm just doing the reverse of, walking up and down the halls, being Mr. Bell, the speech path, and trying to get somebody off a feeding tube, or if they're going to get a feeding tube, or if they're not going to get a feeding tube, they're going to let the person, make the transition. The person doesn't want a feeding tube. If I get them to use a feeding tube, they'll live, they'll be willing to go. If I can't get them to use a feeding tube or to swallow safely, then they're going to drown in their own saliva or have repeated pneumonia. They just go. A lot of it, especially throat cancers, stuff like that. You don't have to be special to die. So I'm sitting upstairs in a big, comfy, like a Barcalounger that we got off the street, a big old comfy thing, right? And I'm just clicking, going through the stations. I don't have radio or anything. And I'm not really watching the television. The television's on the other side of the room. So I'm clicking, all right, and then click, and then all right, click, and all right. And it's like, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning or something, So on the screen comes a lady, and she's crying, okay? Now, when women are at the end of their rope and they're crying, their lower lip will kind of like go into the spastic quiver. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at her, and she's covering her eyes, and she's crying. She's, please help me find my daughter. Please help me find my daughter. And my lip went totally fucking nuts. Now, it didn't go nuts by the muscles inside. It went nuts by something on the outside pulling my lip out. I couldn't push my lip out that far. So it pulled my lip out and shook it. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, what is this? What is this? Something, I don't know what it is. I've never experienced anything like that. So then I'm sitting there, and I click around the stations again. And there's the lady crying again, and her lips moving, and my lip starts moving. Something, I didn't put the two together at first because I wasn't really paying attention to the lady. But now I'm looking at the lady, her lips quivering and my lips quivering. So I'm like, holy fuck balls, what the fuck is this? So, and then the show's over. Okay, the show's over. Find my daughter, all right. And so I'm kind of like tweaked. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm like, what's going on? I'm going around thinking, what do I do? Now, I do have an altar, and I do meditate and send petitions and prayers there. I work very closely with Daisy, my guardian angel. So, and I'm online. I think at that time I had a website. It was Our Lord Jesus the Christ was the website .com. Before that was actually about then my website was called avatar.com, avatar.com. And I had it for a couple of years, then I couldn't pay it. It was like $100 a year, whatever the hell it is, $10 or whatever. So I go to the altar. I start surrounding myself with the white light, big time, right? But I'm in the groove anyway, because this is all I'm doing now. It's like, no distractions, nothing. There's no distractions. I'm just like, every day you live that day. So I asked Daisy, that's my guardian angel. I asked Daisy, am I supposed to do something for that lady? And, I get just a sensation that yes. And then I inquire, should I go look for this girl? And I get I don't know if it's clairsentience or telepathy or muscle memory or cell memory or morphic resonance. I think it's more going into subspace and seeking these resonances that are traveling through space. Of course, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So when something occurs in point in time and space, it just moves outwards and just continues forever. Not at the same strength, though. It diminishes, but it keeps diminishing. If you have 5 You cut it in half, you get two and a half, you cut it two and a half, you keep cutting everything, it never gets to zero. You just get smaller and smaller bits. So I'm using my willpower, my ability to focus, my unconditional love that's finely tuned from being a speech path and working with people with communication problems, and then going to heaven, getting trained by Sylvia, uh, to tune in on the little fragments that are coming in to my mental status. And then I try to put thought forms attached to these kind of like sensations. I want to say telepathic rapport. With Daisy, see, you go to heaven, it's a little bit different. It's like, totally different. Believe it or not, there really is a heaven. There really is a divine creator. So I asked Daisy, yeah, Daisy says, yeah. So I said, okay, should I look for Daisy? Should I look for this person? Yeah, okay. So, all right. All right, here I go. Now, I don't know who this person is, right? I don't know. I think I saw a picture just briefly, but I don't know the name or anything like that, right? I don't know. So, first thing, I do the same thing when I'm seeking out people. I already found a couple clues to other missing people and murdered people and a murderer at that time. I was working with a gentleman, Leo Jones, Fargo Countermeasures, Sabre Laboratories. We'll talk about him later. So anyway, so I'm all ready to look for this person. So I ask, is she passed on? Yes. Should I go look for her? Yes. It's not complicated, right? Okay. It's like 20 questions. So I get in the Volvo. I ask, go right, left. What do I do? Right, left, or, park and, where to go. So Daisy, first thing she does, she brings me down the hill directly to the spot. Okay. It's the top of a wall that has water on both sides, salt water. And the water is the bottom foundation of a giant building that used to be there, some kind of a swimming thing. Okay? But there's nothing, there's water in front of me, water behind me, and then there's a square hole with water in it that goes down the middle of this wall. And then, I can't see anything. So I'm looking. So the place is about the size of maybe football field with the stadium and everything. And it's at the beach, at the ocean, at the Pacific Ocean. It's called Land's End in San Francisco. So, all right. So I'm walking all around, and people are looking at me like, what's this guy's walking around? And I'm using a pendulum. I'm using a crystal pendulum, a Marcel Vogel cut crystal pendulum on a string. I've been using this since New Zealand. I was living in New Zealand, at a meditation center on Waiheke Island. So Daisy brings me back to the original spot where she first brought me. And I'm like, well, I don't see anything. It's kind of dangerous actually standing here. And this is a creepy spot. So I thought, well, I'm going to put my leg in there, wiggle this thing around. So when you're looking from the top down, it goes down about, I don't know how deep it is, but if it goes down maybe 10 feet or something, but it's full of water. And just beneath the surface of the water is the top of a piece of cement. It's the kind of piece of cement, if you had a stop sign buried in the dirt with cement and you pulled out the stop sign, there'd be this ugly piece of cement on the end of the pole. It looked like that. It was dropped down in this hole. It was under the water. So I put my leg down there. I shake this piece of cement that's underwater, and two shoes float up. Two ladies' shoes float up. And I just thought, holy fuck. And I jumped up and walked away. Just freaked me out. Walked to the far side of the property, stood there. What do I do? Fuck, what do I do? It must be this girl's ass. She has the girl's shoes. She's dead. I told you. That's why she brought me here. I'm like, oh, fuck, man. So I thought, well, I got to go back. So I walked back across the thing. It's ocean's on one side, the parking lot's on the other side. Walk back to the wall. I'm on the wall. I have to kind of like lay down to reach in with my hands and pull out these two shoes. So I'm not reaching out twice to pull out one shoe each time. I'm pulling in both shoes with, my two fingers in my right hand. So I stick my fingers in the backs of the shoes and I start to get up. And as I'm getting up and lifting the shoes out of the hole, you ever drink way too much wine or something and you just been throwing up and you can't stop throwing up and you have nothing to throw up? You have the dry heaves. Well, that feeling, that exact feeling started at my fingertips in those shoes. And it just slowly went up my fingers, up my wrist, up my arm, up my shoulder. And then I started getting the dry heaves. I was going, standing on this wall, right? So now there's a lady and a man close staring at me. And they've been watching me the whole time, but they don't know what's going on. But now I'm standing out there, look like I'm barfing, but nothing's coming out. I'm holding this lady's shoes. So they're standing there just staring at me. And then I think, what the fuck? Now what the fuck do I do? Do I walk past these people, walk up and go to the car? What if these are this girl's shoes? I think they're the girl's shoes, but what if they are the girl's shoes? And nobody's going to believe me. My guardian angel brought me here. Fuck, what the fuck do I do? So, okay, I walk up the hill, go to the parking lot, put him in the back of the Volvo, I put him in the back seat on the ground behind me. I'm thinking, fuck, man, if I get stopped, somebody's going to say these shoes, I don't know what the fuck, I'm not employed. What's this? You're a speech path who channels angels? Oh, that's a good cover, right? So I drive back. It's like, 400 yards. Where I'm crashed is like 400 yards from where these shoes are. All right? All right. So I go up and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at these shoes and I'm going, no, these shoes, they've been in there a while. This girl, I think she was, she was in university or something. This looks like maybe a college girl could wear these shoes. I don't know, man. What do I do? Fuck. Now, as I'm driving out at the exit, right there at the exit, there's used to be a big restaurant that was very famous. I don't remember. The Cliff House. It was at the Cliff House. Was this poster? Missing. Reward. Kristen Modafari. Call. Oakland homicide. And they got the number. I get out, I take it out, I tear it out, right? Like, oh shit, fuck. So there's one stoplight between where I am and where my crash pad is, and I'm at that stoplight, and I am so fucking nervous. I'm telling you, man, I am so nervous. I'm like, fuck, I did the stupidest fucking thing. Nobody's gonna fucking believe this. Fuck me. So I go back. Okay, now, let's back up. There's a street called Geary. Geary goes from the Cliff House all the way down to the bay. And I think it's like, back then, I think it was like, I don't remember how much it was. Maybe $1. You can take it all the way down to the bay. Well, I'm trying to channel guardian angels, right? And so you walk up to somebody who uses channel angels, they're going to look at you like, get the fuck away. You look normal, but you're a fucking nut, right? And I'm like, sorry. Or if they actually listen, they think I'm talking about angles. Like, an angle, Silicon Valley, an angle, what the angle, 50-degree angle, 20, whatever, fuck. So nobody wants to communicate with the guardian angel. So the day before this occurred, it's raining. I walk all the way down Geary from where I am to where the bay is. It took me one day to go walk all the way down. And then the next day I took the tram all the way down to the bay and walked up the other side of Geary. And only one person wanted me to communicate with your angel, and that was outside of Kaiser Hospital. And that was a lady, that was a big black lady in a coat that just really smelled bad. And she was diagnosed with some kind of cancer, I don't know what, and we cried and channeled her angel and tried to help her figure out that, we all make the transition. The love you make is the love you take. That's it, big time. So this happened the day before. I find these shoes. Okay, so I'm just Joe Angel guy. But you go to heaven, you find out what happens. You're not going to come back and, go hang out at Walmart. So I asked Daisy, are these the girl shoes? Yes. Should I call the Oakland homicide detective? Yes. And then I just, it was like, punching a brick wall when you're a pussy. It's like, so I asked her again, should I call the Oakland homicide number? She said yes. I'm like, fuck. I asked her, will you protect me? She said yes. Okay. Can you believe that? She said yes. So I call the Oakland homicide detective, right? And this is what happens. I call, yeah, I want to make a tip about this lady, this Kirsten or Kristen, whatever her name is. I think it's a tip. She goes, okay, please hold. And then she connects me to Oakland homicide detective. I say, my name is Sam Bell. This is where I live. I communicate with guardian angels. I went to heaven September 21st, 1996. And this probably happened in 97. That's right. It was like a year after. And I think I found this girl Kristen's shoes. Well, I've helped the cops 3 times in the USA. And 2 times they were, skeptical, but not responsive. And 1 time they were on the ball. Okay. In New Zealand, it's a different story. They take you serious there. Okay. Now, forestry people in the US, they will take you serious too. But basic cop in a car that's driving around, and I'm not talking about detectives, but basic cop in a car, they just look like you, like you're a weirdo. Okay. So I'm assuming he's going to go, oh, this is probably some guy who did this. And he just wants to find out what he's going on. He's really stupid. He's on drugs or something. But this homicide detective is really, really, really respectful. Okay? I mean, he's really respectful. Now I'm a speech path, so tuning in on, voice and tone and, blah, blah, blah. Also trained in some neuroscience, blah, 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 all this stuff. So I can tell the guy's really, he's believing me, right? Maybe he's believing me. So, but he's not telling me to get fucked and don't fuck with him, right? He wants me to tell him everything. So I tell him everything, right? All right. Thank you, Mr. Bell. I'm going to be there tomorrow. I'll meet you at that spot tomorrow. I'll bring my partner. Thank you so much, Mr. Bell. Okay. Now that day was the day that the jets fly over the Golden Gate Bridge. It's someday the jets, they have these, flying jet team that does maneuvers and stuff. So he was going to meet me there like, I don't know, whatever time, but he was like more than an hour late because he got stuck on the bridge, right? All the people stop on the bridge, the jets are flying around. So now, this is where Leo comes in. Now, Leo Jones was the person who put the recording equipment in the Oval Office for Nixon. When Nixon had the plumbers, the Watergate break-in guys, need to get equipment to do the job, they sent him, Nixon himself sent him to Fargo Countermeasures, which was Leo. Okay, he's big-time hardcore Republican, Leo Jones. All right. This is another story about Leo, but Leo and I turned out to be super best friends. He was on a feeding tube, hardcore Catholic. I channeled his guardian angel. His guardian angel brought Marcel Vogel, his friend, in, believe it or not. And I happen to know Marcel. It was a small world. So Leo knew I was real. So Leo was kind of concerned because he goes, the cops aren't going to believe this. He goes, the cops are not going to believe this, Sam. I better go there with you, because he knew all the police chiefs in the western states and all the bigwigs and the state capitals, and he actually hung out with these guys in the White House back then. So he goes, I'm gonna be with you, Sam. So he's in the car with me, right? Well, he's sitting there, an hour, they don't show up. So his wife shows up, Helen. She goes, we're gonna go up here to we're gonna go to the restaurant and get seafood. I go, yeah, go on up there. Don't worry about it. If they're gonna take me, they're gonna take me. And I got the camera right in the shoes. So, okay, Leo leaves, and then two, just like in San Francisco, detective-looking guys. They got the car that looks like a detective car, and it's got all the electrical stuff to pick up stuff, all kinds of weird electrical stuff, and they got the super sturdy suits on with the pistol holster on their ankle, and they got a pistol on their hip, and God knows what else they got, little derringers probably. So they pull in, and it's a black guy and a white guy. Well, the black guy looks fucking scared. Seriously, he looks fucking scared. And he's never standing in front of me. He's always standing behind me with his hands, like kind of on his belt, two hands there, because God knows what he's going to reach for something to blast me or whatever the fuck if I do anything weird. And he's just scared. I don't think he said anything. He said at the end. So he said that, and then he walked away. Now the white guy, this guy was a real homicide detective. This guy was no dummy. Gee, wow. So of course, I've got the camera on. I'm recording it. I asked permission. I'm assuming they're going to arrest me and take me, put my fucking ass in some kind of fucking cell with God knows what, and just kiss my ass goodbye. I'm thinking it's over. So I go, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. I get my card. I channel angels, blah, blah, blah. Minister in training with Sylvia Brown. Yeah, I went to heaven, blah, blah, blah. And my guardian angel, blah, blah, blah. He's looking at me like, And of course, I'm at the car. He's recording everything, right? And the other guy's standing behind me, like, it's like, phew. So I open the door. He opens the door. He takes his shoes. He looks at the shoes. He goes, yeah. These could, yeah. And I go, they've been underwater. It looks like about 2 months. And he goes, yeah. So I'm telling him, well, I had people and I healed people and blah, blah, blah. And the angels come and blah, blah, blah. Discarnate entities and blah, blah, blah. And I'm babbling on and on because I'm all pumped, right? I think, well, I better, fuck, my ass is going to jail. God, what an asshole I am. So he goes, can you show me where you got these? I go, okay. So he follows me down the hill. I bring him down to the wall, the filled building foundation with the water on both sides, the water and the big ugly piece of cement inside, and I show him what I did. He's just standing there astounded. And the black guy's like, I don't know. It was like, I don't know. He was like, So he goes, well, we had the FBI. She worked at a coffee shop, and the FBI trailed her from the coffee shop onto the bus, and the bus up to the top of the thing up there. I'm like, oh, really? Wow. And he said, then that dog came down this trail, came to this spot, and came right to this spot right here and stopped. And that's all that happened. We couldn't find it because nobody would stick their leg down there, wiggle this piece of cement, if they even thought about it, right? He said, then the next day, another FBI bloodhound was brought and released at the other side of the property. It came to this spot, and his name was Sherman. And Sherman hates water, and he stuck his nose in there. And we still didn't find him. I'm like, well, and they're like, well, this is a girl's shoes. And I'm like, yeah, it's girl's shoes. I was started barfing and put my hands in there. I was like, God, it was awful. So we're walking up the hill, and he's saying, thank you, Mr. Bell, and the family wants to meet you, and blah, blah, blah. And so, okay, all right. So I'm feeling pretty good. They didn't cuff me, and they didn't hit me with a stick or stun gun me, or I didn't shit my pants. It was close, man. But so I'm thinking, well, they can't make a mistake because they know where I am and they know who I am. I got a license from the Board of Medical Quality Assurance. I've been doing this for fucking decades. And I'm calling them. So I said, well, maybe, they don't have to detain me. Any normal cop would detain me. We're going to detain you, young man. We'll take the cuffs off. Just get in the car. All right. I'm thinking, well, now I'm sitting back in this big comfy chair in a room with nothing but this TV. So I thought, well, wonder what's going to happen. So I call my friend at the time, Vince, and Vince's brother is a FBI special agent. Vince went to Notre Dame, got a master's degree in English. He's a good friend. And he and I are both hunting buddies. He would go deer hunting and also bow hunting. So I said, well, I'll call him up. Maybe he might know. Well, when I told him the story, he's like, you are totally fucking fucked, bro. You are fucked. You are fucked. You are more fucked than you could ever get fucked. You're fucked. Excuse my French. So I'm like, oh no. Like, oh shit. So I'm like, oh, he would know. He goes, yeah, because they know where you are. They can get you anytime. They probably got a camera across the street in that car that's not usually there. It's parked. It's got a camera and this thing. They're monitoring everywhere you go. You're doing anything, they're monitoring everything. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm assuming, well, I don't know. Daisy said she'd protect me. But wow, this is pretty heavy, In San Francisco, they've got good undercover cops. If you have some guy who looks like a total bum, he's probably got a really nice sidearm and he's a cop. So one morning, a couple of days after, I get a phone call from a TV station. And they go, well, the parents are going to come out here to meet you. You better be there. I'm like, okay. Then the phone rings against another TV station. The parents are going to come. The parents are going to come. So all the local San Francisco TV stations and the parents show up with a news crew with their own producer and everything from New York. Now, the local guys, they've got all top equipment, but it's kind of dirty and shit. You got a piece of tape on it, Well, this crew that came out from New York, those were feds. Okay, you could tell they just sit around and polish shit. Everything you could tell. Or some kind of secret service or something, God knows. So the producer that came out with the parents, he was an FBI guy who was pretending to be a producer or camera, a news guy from New York or whatever. He might have been working with America's Most Wanted because America's Most Wanted did flash me on their screen as, helping the parents. All right. Blah, blah, blah. And there's the cameras. Maybe 3 news crews that are local and the other one, by the time it was all over, it was like three crews left and then that one from New York. And so I'm going to leave. So I walked up to the mother and father and I said, you have a reward. I'm not here for the reward. I'm only here to help you stop your suffering. I don't accept the reward. I appreciate that. You've offered it, but no, thank you. And it was 10 grand. And turned around and walked away. Okay, so I'm walking away and I don't get too far, like maybe 20 steps. And the mom yells, Sam, come here. So I turned around and I still had my camera on, thank God. So I go back to her. She says, Sam, you just want to let you know we were on the Sally Jesse Raphael show. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I just saw a flash of something and, my lip went nuts. That was it. I don't know what the fuck was going on. And we were on the Sally Jesse Raphael show in New York with an FBI psychic named Dorothy Allison. And the father says, "Do you know Dorothy Allison?" I go, "No, I don't know her." She said, "Well, at the end of the show, she walked off stage and took a pen and paper and wrote down three names. And one of the names was Bell. And she said, someone named Bell will get involved and find evidence." And I go, "Well, that's me. Yay, that's me. That's so cool, right?" I'm all excited. So I went on home and I was on the news and on the news and on the news and on the news and on the news. Guy that channels angels, the guardian angel bottoms, the girl's shoes, missing girl's shoes, gone. Angels, 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 angels. So one day I went from, I don't know, just bothering people to the next day, people are going, "Oh, you're into angels. Oh, angels, angels, angels." Now, when I went to heaven, at that time I was a pretty avid boar hunter, pig hunter, and duck hunter, deer hunter, mostly pigs, a lot of pig hunting, sidearm or a rifle. And my hunting buddies, duck hunting buddies stuff, once I started talking about angels, they couldn't fucking drop me fast enough. They're like, "You're fucking, what the, oh, Sam's lost it." But as soon as they saw me on TV, they believed it. As soon as they saw me on the national news, they believed it. As soon as they saw my clip on America's Most Wanted, they believed it. So I'm like, what the fuck, Americans? They're so zoned out on digital stimuli. If they don't see it on television, they don't believe it. It's so bizarre. Now, a little bit about Leo Jones. Just a little bit. Fargo countermeasures. Now, this is a quick story. My uncle was Frank McGee, host of the Today Show on NBC. He was assigned with Stars and Stripes as a journalist that followed General Eisenhower through Europe. Later, he became the host of the Today Show, and he was the person Walter Cronkite credited with bringing the Vietnam War into people's homes, which caused the war to stop. So, the '68 Chicago Convention, the cops beat up all the yippies. My uncle Frank directed the cameras inside the convention on the cops beating the crap out of a bunch of funny-looking yippies. And that got him on Nixon's hit list. Nixon didn't like that. So he got on Nixon's hit list because of that. So Frank was neutralized because he was at the JFK assassination. And if you go to my website, spiritualmag.org or samvelshow.org, anyway, he reported on it. The guy got shot from two different directions. He broadcast that live on the show, right? So I'm trying to find the people that murdered him. I'm serious about that one. Really serious about that one. So when I met Leo had a feeding tube, a permanent feeding tube, and was NPO, non-oral. So I got him off the feeding tube. He got out of the bed, and we became best friends when he figured out angels are real. And he doesn't have to lay in bed for the rest of his life. And that I knew Marcel. So that's the movie, The Conversation by Francis Ford Coppola is based on Leo. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And the young lady who is missing, again, the goal, her name was Kristen Modafferi, and the goal is to stop the suffering for the mom. And I think that I did that. And that's a big deal to me. Okay, you and all your loved ones are always in my prayers. Samuel Joseph Bell.